Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for watching. Today's video is a brown and gold eye requested by Elsa, so I thought I'd do that for you today. And I'm going to use the California Love palette from Colourpop. So let's get started. So starting off, I received this little sample of a Bobbi Brown Primer Plus Mattifier when I restocked my skincare recently. So I want to use that for a change just to see what it's like. I normally use my Tarte Clean Slate and my Murad mattifying oil control mattifier. So I thought I'd give this a go today just to see what it's like. It does feel quite thick, which is nice. I do like that. Feels really smooth and silky on the skin. Feels beautiful. I'm going to go up just underneath my eyes here where the wrinkles are, just with a tiny amount. So today I decided to use a different foundation. I've got some samples here of the Fenty Beauty Hydrating. So I'm going to use 260 on the interior of my face. So I want to give this a go to see what it's like for mature skin. So I've got a combination skin. Gee, it smells nice. It smells like perfume. It's going on really easily. Feels very nice. And then I wanted to start using concealers again. I know that, you know, it's not good for my wrinkles underneath my eyes, but on my channel I really do need to show you some different products rather than the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. So I'm going in with my Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer. I did have this years ago in the older tubes in light and fair. I think this one is light. Now I have tried this already a couple of days ago and I think it's pretty much the same formula. I don't think anything's changed too much about it. So I'm just making sure I've got that coverage underneath my eyes where I've got a little bit of darkness there. And I'm going in with my Zoeva 110 Face Shape Brush, which I like to use underneath my eyes. I'm just stippling that along. And I'm going to use the same concealer just to highlight a little. And use the same brush to blend it in. And then just going back and stippling over those demarcation lines with my foundation brush. I've just gone back just to put a little bit more concealer underneath the eyes. It isn't quite as full coverage as, say, the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector or the Too Faced, which I used recently on one of my videos. Too Faced has really quite a good coverage. This is, for want of a better word, still moist though. It's like the Becca Under Eye, that it stays a little bit damp and doesn't dry down as much as a lot of the matte concealers do. So I do like that for underneath my eyes. I don't want it, definitely don't want to be dry underneath there. And then I thought I'd use the 360 in Fenty Beauty Hydrating Foundation to try to bronze up a little bit around the perimeter of my face. It's quite a lot darker than the 260. But I was looking at it the other day on my hand and it is quite a nice colour. It's definitely not orange. It's a nice cool colour. And then I do always like to go over that with the Sigma Duo Fiber F50 and just blend those edges. Love this brush for blending. I think as you get older, you really do need to concentrate on blending your makeup. So you've got no real demarcation lines, so you can really not sort of see where you've put anything. Okay, so I'm going to leave the face products there for the moment and go ahead and do my eyes. I'm going to go ahead and use my P. Louise eye base in Rumour 02. I find for my lids, which are very, very hooded and mature, this is the best eye primer that I've found so far. I really do like it. It really helps with vibrancy, helps with creasing. I'm going to go and place that everywhere, right up to the brow, right down into the inner corner here. Sharpen up that brow as we go. Now I do like to go in with a very fluffy blending brush. This is a NARS 42, I think, and just tap that off. It's just taking off any excess and basically setting it without actually putting a shadow on. You can do it with a beauty blender as well. I do alternate both from time to time. Both give the same result. So today I'm using Colourpop's California Love. Haven't used this yet on my channel. It's got some browns and golds, which is great, and it's got a real apricot or peach colour there and a little bit darker orange there as well. A little bit of a mulberry colour right in the top there. So today I'm going to go in with Gnarly, which is that real beige, bland sort of colour, and I just want to go in my transition area. I'm going to use an E40. And just right up in that area, just do a really light smattering of colour. So with this transition colour, you can try and start to create that shape. So I'm going right down into the inner corner here, right up to my eyebrow, rounding off. So I'm now going to go in with a lower transition colour or into the crease with the Bay, which is just a little bit slightly darker. You're not going to notice too much difference. So I'm going to go in with a Too Faced blender brush. It's like a bullet. It's really quite rounded on the top there. Just a little bit lower. I'm going to go back into Gnarly with that E40 and just go over that edge, that same colour. So I'm going to go into Highway 1 now, which is a little bit more of a warm brown there. A little bit darker, on a small tapered, small tapered blending E45 from Sigma. So it's got a little point on it there. I'm just going to grab some on the point. I just want to go back into that crease, a little bit lower down again. If you've got hooded eyes like I do, you still have to make sure that this is going up as high as you need to if you're doing a cut crease or something like that, so that you can actually see this colour. I'm going into the outer corner. Alright, so I'm going to go back into my P. Louise base and a MAC 242, flatten it out as much as I can on my hand, and I'm just going to do a little tiny halo eye right in the center. A little bit more product. I'm going to go straight on top of that with Cruisin', which is a beautiful gold shimmer there on Makeup Forever 240. And just right down the center of that halo. I do want to then blend that, so I'm going in back in with the Bay, which is that lighter brown colour there on the corner. On the Too Faced brush, I'm just going to pop a little bit of that in from the dark colour and just onto that shimmer. Now I do want to use that glitter in the center there. It's really not a chunky glitter, it's very fine actually. On my finger, I'll just show you. It's not really very chunky. So I want to try that. Now I ordinarily use the Too Faced glitter glue, and I have used this once before on my channel I think, and I didn't really like it because I thought it was really quite wet, but I'm really going to concentrate. This is the Anastasia glitter adhesive. I'm trying to get a fair bit of that off. I just want to go down the center of that shimmer and see how this works. I may be doing the other eye with the Too Faced. So I'm just going to go in with my finger on that glitter and just place it right over the center there. I don't know. Okay, so bottom lash line, I'm going to go back into Highway 1 and I'm going to use a Zoeva smudge brush. 226 I think it is. And then back into the Bay and a MAC 221. And just right along, meeting up with that outside edge there. So just blending the edge of that previous colour. So I'm just going to pop some Marc Jacobs Brownie in the waterline. And then I want to go back, I want to try and use this glitter glue again, once again taking off most of the excess of the product, and I just want to pop a tiny little bit right underneath that halo. And then I'm going to go in with my Sigma E21 smudge brush, back into that glitter, and just pop a little bit on the bottom lash line there. Alright, so I went ahead and popped some lashes on, and now I'm going to go back into, what is it called? Cruisin' on a Sigma pencil brush. So that's that little shimmer that we put in underneath the glitter. I'm just going to pop that in the inner corner there, just a dash. Now I'm not convinced about the Anastasia glitter glue. I really feel safer with the Too Faced. I just really do. I don't know what it is about the glitter glue from Anastasia, but I really don't like it. It just feels like the Too Faced holds everything a little bit better. Like I'm starting to get a little bit of movement up here of the glitter into that high crease area there. Now the Fenty Beauty Foundation, I do like it. It's not something I'm going to go and buy though, a full bottle of. It is hydrating, I feel. It hasn't set down to a real matte, like I can still feel it's really a tiny little bit damp still. So it hasn't set right down, so that I like. So I'm going to go ahead and use another sample. This is a Bobbi Brown bronzer that came with that skincare replenishment as well. It's called Bronzing Powder Golden Light. And I just want to go over with my Sigma, this is a powder brush, and just intensify that bronzer a little bit. Or the Fenty Beauty 360 that I put underneath, just to darken up the perimeter. If you've got a small forehead like I do, like it's not really huge, and I've got blonde hair and I really don't want to get this bronzer in there, just sort of flatten out your brush a little bit as you go around the perimeter of your face. And that way you don't get too much of the product everywhere that you don't want it. So I feel like, you know, this foundation is, I have gone over with that concealer, which, you know, I really wouldn't wear myself if I was going out. I always stick to my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. But as I said, I did want to show you something different on this channel. But that's kind of settled into those little wrinkles there. And the foundation is kind of settling into everything as well. But like I said, it is hydrating. It's definitely not matte, which I like. So I'm going right up around the perimeter, right underneath my chin area here. God knows I need that. Not too much product, just a little on your brush. Actually, I'm going to use my Revolution palette for blush. It's got some beautiful colours in there. There's a couple that are actually shimmery on the end there, so I do tend to stay away from them for blush. But I'm just going to run my Real Techniques blush brush over all of these colours. And then for highlight today, I'm going to go into my Fenty Beauty Killawatt foil. This side is Sandcastle, which is a beautiful bronzy colour, very light still, and a Zoeva Luxe highlight brush. And then of course I don't want a demarcation line there where the highlighter is, so I go back in with the Sigma brush and blend upwards. And everything just diffuses and blends really well. So I'm going to use that same Bobbi Brown bronzer and my Too Faced contour brush, which is really tiny, and just do a tiny little bit of contouring on my nose. I normally like to use the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Sol Oil to do contouring on my nose. This is a little tiny bit warmer, but it's still good. A little bit underneath my lip. So I want a tiny little bit more of a darker lip today, so I'm going with MAC Lip Liner in Stone. And then I'm going to go in with my dose of colours, Knock on Wood. I'm going to actually go up and over that lip liner so it's not so dark. And then I just want to go over with a gloss. This is from YSL. then finally I'm just going to go over with my Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. Cover my eyes. Such a fine mist, and it's a beautiful product. I'll let that dry. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. Now I really did like this palette. Surprisingly there wasn't much fallout, thank God, because I really didn't think today about doing my complexion products last. I really should have, using glitter. So wrapping up, I do like the Tarte Maracuja. I used to like that, like I said, years and years ago. I still like my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector and my Too Faced Concealer. But I will be using that again on my channel. I do like the palettes, absolutely stunning for nude and gold looks. And the glitter glue from Anastasia, I really don't know whether I'm going to be using that again. That's twice I've really attempted it, and I really don't like it. I like the Too Faced much better. So if you like my video today, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Click the notifications bell so you're notified when I upload some more content, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.